Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name is Dave Abkary and I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi, how are you? How's your week been? Did you guys survive Super Tuesday? Stressful. I was thankfully running a comedy show during Super Tuesday, so I wasn't able to pay too much of attention to it, you know? It's a lot. It's so much. Everybody has this baseline level of anxiety I feel like they're running on right now. And social media is just, I mean, how much more can be said, you know? I don't know. It's too much. I think I'm friends with too many comedians too. That's always, you know, I think that's part of it. Every comedian has a hot take on every bit of minutia that life has to offer. So maybe that's what it is. I just need fewer comedians, friends. Maybe that's it. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you're okay though. I hope you're well. Hope you're surviving, hanging in there. Whoever it was you voted for. I had this mail-in ballot sitting on my counter for a week. I think you can actually hear when I got the mail-in ballot on the podcast. I think Davina Joy last week. It's a podcast I recorded almost a month ago with Davina. And last week I aired it, and there's a point where you can hear I get up to get the mail, and Davina goes, "Make sure to vote, Dave," because she saw that I had gotten all my voting information in the mail, and that shit sat there for almost a month, at least 3 weeks, and it wasn't until the last fucking day that I could get that mail in that I decided to fill it out, and I was like, why do I make myself so stressful? Why do I stress myself out like this? I don't know. My dad, I just kind of casually mentioned to him a few weeks back that I was thinking about rebuilding my porch, or at least the stairs on my porch, because my front porch has 3 stairs going up to it, and they were looking a little worse for wear. And I just mentioned it to him. It's Saturday morning. I woke up and he had torn my whole porch apart. So we're rebuilding the porch. It's like, oh, we're just doing this, huh? We're just right now. Cool, you know. I don't know. He's a 70-year-old man, you know. I don't know. He knows how to. I mean, I take instructions very well. I'm very good when it comes to this sort of thing. But I just hope, man. You know, nobody wants to lose a parent, and I would be heartbroken to lose my father. But if I also lost my father when I was halfway through rebuilding this porch that he's helping me with, I'd be extra bummed. There'd be another layer of bummer to the whole thing because I wouldn't know how to put it back together. I'd have to hire a contractor to come out and finish it. So anyway, it's kind of a fun project though. My dad and I haven't worked on a project together in a while, so it's been fun. We went and bought all the lumber the other day. Went down to Home Depot. That was good. It was good. Some dad time with my dad. So that's been me. That's been me. Just rebuilding porches, dealing with the existential horror that is U.S. politics. That's my week, and you're all caught up. Let's talk about today's guest. Today's guest, a very talented comedian named Adam Martinez, came up a few weeks back with Andrew Pupa and did some shows. They were crashing to my place. We sat down to do this podcast. Adam's a great dude. He's a dad himself, which is cool, which is nice. I don't get a ton of other dads on the podcast. There are plenty of comedian dads out there. They're a little fewer and farther between, though, you know. And not only that, I mean, one, Adam has an interesting dad in his own right. We talk at length about him, but what's really interesting about Adam too is he was such a young dad. You know, he's just a couple years older than me. I think he's 38. You know, I'm gonna be 34 this month. BT Dubs. If you're looking to get old dad a birthday gift, March 22nd, you don't have to get me anything. Maybe send me a card. You know, it's just nice to hear from you. So Adam's 38, his son is 18, you know, so having a kid when you're 19, 20 years old, like Adam did, I think that's interesting, you know. That's scary. It's a lot to deal with, you know, when you're a little older. When you're in the 30s, being a parent is scary, but 19, 20 years old when you have a kid, and so we talk a lot about that, and it's a great chat, and I listened back to it this morning, and I really, really like it, and I think you guys are going to like it too. So without further ado, guys, here we go. Adam Martinez. He's funny. He's a good dude. It's just like a little. It's like I'm gonna try and put shit. Just check. Yeah, just be cool, man. Here's good stuff. Check 1, 2. All right, that's good. Oh yeah, sorry, man. No, you're good with that shirt. You pop those headphones on.
Absolutely.
Right there, and you're good. I'm recording now, so we have to stop talking shit. I mean, we can. I just.
Let's see. Test. All right, good.
Yeah, you good?
Perfect. Sounds great.
Is this your first time up to Fresno?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been here. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. You like it?
Yeah, I like it. I love any comedy scene where people come out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. Have you gotten to, see much of California since you moved down here?
A little bit. We took a trip up to San Francisco.
Okay.
On the 4th. My fiance and I.
Yeah.
So we always do something on the 4th. We're getting married on the 4th. We always take a vacation that time.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm losing my independence on Independence Day, so it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, it's great, man. Have you been married before, or
No.
is this your first time?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm
Doing
excited.
it. At least you're and there's no way that you're rushing into it. You know what I mean? Like, how long have you guys been together?
13 years.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely not rushing.
That fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when baby wants a harpist, baby gets a harpist. She's waited 13 years.
That's so funny, dude. Yeah. Does she have a plan for the harpist? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
is she
hope.
does she have like a set list for the harpist? You know,
I have no idea. Does a harpist need a set list? We don't know. We were talking about this at breakfast.
Yeah.
You could be a shitty harpist. Nobody would know.
Nobody would know.
Nobody's got the big harp. There's no Jimmy Page of the harp.
Right. I didn't imagine if you had an electric harp, you would just electrocute yourself.
Yeah. Sitting in water.
Oh, shit.
Sitting in the sweat from playing so hard.
That's so funny, dude. Well, I mean, that's good. So you've just been bumming around Southern California for. I mean, how long have you been in California?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. You're halfway up the state.
Yeah.
You've made it this far.
Yeah. I'm reaching up here.
Yeah. There's a whole other half of the state.
Yeah.
It's just yours for the taking.
I can't wait. It's so much fun.
You're originally from Chicago?
Yeah. I'm originally from Bolingbrook, which is a suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
But at 9, we headed into the south side. So it's a little bit different from the burbs. So I definitely, I think I overcompensated as a person because I was a suburb kid trying to fit in with the Southsiders. So I went the tough guy route because I was trying to prove I'm a man too,
right,
11. So you're trying to be yeah, I'm tough too, you guys. And not at all. Both my parents went to college, not at all. They're well spoken. My dad used to give me the newspaper at 13 and read this because you're boring to talk to. I remember when the Clinton Lewinsky scandal was happening. I was can you read this so we can have something to talk about educated? I don't want to hear about your day. I don't care.
Savage.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. So you're growing up in sort of a bit of a suburban life. Is that? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, little
Sounds
suburban,
fun.
little city. So I got a taste of both.
Yeah.
So it was really good because I would go to the city and I had to learn it wasn't a split personality, but there's definitely a part of you in the burbs. You can be much more relaxed, but when you're from the burbs in the city, you puff up your chest a little bit more because you're from the burbs. And it's that weird thing when you're a kid and you don't realize none of that matters.
Yeah, right.
Right. People think where you're from makes you who you are. And in some sense, sure.
Right.
But not at the core of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I was thinking about that recently. Because, I have all these hurtful things that were said to me when I was 13 by other 13-year-olds. But now I imagine a 13-year-old trying to insult me as a grown man. And I'd be get the fuck out of here. You're fucking piece. Get out of here, kid. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
And it's just funny how you just hang on to that shit
Yes.
from when you were a kid. But it doesn't really matter, but it somehow matters so much more than anything else.
Yeah.
That's the worst. What were you? So you were living in the suburbs, but you were going to the city a lot. What brought you out to the city?
My mom was teaching, and we weren't financially really well off at that time. For we had my family had a lull for about 4 or 5 years, so she couldn't afford to have somebody drive me to school. So she was working in the school, so I had to go to the school where my mom taught.
Oh, I see.
That was weird too.
Yeah.
Because
your mom's there, people just bagging on your mom. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah. And I was blessed. My mom's a really good teacher, so everybody really liked my mom because she was one of the 3 teachers in a school that everyone liked.
Yeah, right.
She was a who's who of American teachers. She's a really good teacher, so everyone liked her. But the problem was I couldn't do anything, and I think probably why I'm a comic because I had to repress my childish urges until I became an adult and was oh, there's no governor on this. I can pedal to the metal, and I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely like if I would get in trouble, I'd have teachers send me to her room. They go see your mom, and my mom would look at me and go back to her class. I'm not teaching you.
Yeah,
and
right.
she's cold-hearted like that.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, she's like, hey, go be a teacher.
It's got to be, right. It's got to make the staff room at the school kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. When they're like, "Oh God, she doesn't want to even deal with this asshole." Yeah.
How funny, dude. Did you have like a big family? I mean, do you have?
No, we have. I've got a half brother and sister in Texas. My dad's originally from San Antonio.
Gotcha.
So I've got a half brother and sister in Texas from his first marriage, and then I have. But I grew up with mom, dad, sister, brother. Okay. My half brother, sister lives in Texas. Occasionally we come up, and we still talk, and we're all good, but. Sure. And I don't consider them half brother sister. They're just brother sister.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. But
you were the baby.
I'm the baby. I'm the youngest of four. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they pretty much stopped. Like when you're the baby, they're like, we've seen this. We're good. We're good.
Right.
He'll get through it. And I'm like, you should have tried a little harder.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be a comic.
Come on now, mom. Yeah.
Dropping the ball there, Suzanne.
But you were the only kid for your mom?
No, for my mom, it was me and my sister.
That's
so
right.
My dad had 2 and 2.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. That's wild. Were you a smart kid? Were you a good kid?
Yeah, I was actually supposed to skip a grade twice, and I blessed. I got college educated parents, so it was I have a good IQ. But then they made sure they grew it. They let it grow and I don't know the word I'm looking for, but they really helped me.
Yeah, nurtured it.
Nurtured it, helped it grow like a good plant.
Right.
And so, and they always encouraged me to stand up for myself. Like one of the cooler things was one time we were at this was it like a club for kids where they hung out. I don't know, it was like 4-H, but it wasn't 4-H. But so we were hanging out and they wanted to do roller skating as like the big party, and I was the only person who was like, can we bowl? Because I hated roller skating and I would fall down.
Sure.
So like being smart, I'm like, hey guys, maybe we could bowl. It's a little bit easier for everyone. And they kept trying to change my opinion, and I was like 9 years old and just standing up.
Yeah, good for you, man.
And my parents, it was one of those moments where my parents were like, we're really proud that you stood up for yourself, and I'm pretty sure they regret that moment as long as they live, because now they're like, dude, why are you doing comedy? Like my parent put it this way. So I went home for the holiday, and my mom still calls comedy a hobby. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, like, I had to look at her, and I don't flex the comedy resume because it's so douchey.
Right.
But with her, when she said that, I flexed. I was like Arnold in the 80s. I was just like, yeah, the pump. You know what I mean?
It's so funny how you can get like puffed up about that sort of thing. Like, because I remember, I run a bunch of shows. I produce shows. But I mean, I don't really want to be any of those things. I just want to be a comedian. And I remember one of the most unintentionally insulting things my dad ever said was, my folks are coming out to the show, and my dad was like, "Are you hosting or performing?" And I was like, "Well, Dad, like the host has the hardest spot. The host has to not only perform, but like has the hardest spot. Like you got to be one of the strongest comedians on the fucking show to host, Dad." And my dad's like, "Whoa, like where's this coming from?" And I'm like, "No, it's nothing. It's fine."
It's nothing. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of like get that like insecurity part of when it comes to your parents in comedy. Like,
I feel like with their success that they've had, like I do feel the pressure to do well.
Right.
So with a comic talking shit, I don't care.
Right.
You're a comic, dude. Like, but with your parents, it hits a little harder.
Right.
So you wanna I wanna validate to them the hard work they put in.
Yeah.
To raise me. And I went to Catholic school. Like I got to play baseball. Like my dad's great. Everybody. So you want to reward them for being such good parents. And so, but when they kind of make those comments, you get like, God, you want to yell at them like, you're the only person I want to impress.
Right.
You two. Everyone else, I don't give a shit. I'm happy they're laughing.
Sure.
Trust me. I'm thankful they're laughing.
Right.
But you two are my audience that one day I would love for you to be like, oh, he's a comic, and not say it like, oh, he does comedy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally get that, man. Well, and you mentioned it just a second ago, but sports are a big part of your life.
Yeah. Big baseball guy. Got that from my dad. One of the coolest stories about my dad, when I realized, like, you have a great dad. You know, because when we're kids, my parents are the worst. Everybody, you know, they want me to do my homework and get good grades. What the fuck's wrong with these people? You know what I mean?
Right.
But so I was a pitcher. Part of the reason I didn't skip grades was I was good at sports. So I wanted to stay with my group. And once you start skipping grades, like there comes a point you're in high school sooner. And you can't. Like I didn't want to be a 12-year-old in high school.
Sure.
I was young anyway. I was a late August birthday, so I was like 17 when I started college.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but when I was a kid, my dad saw promise, and so what he did, one of the coolest things I've ever heard of a dad doing, is he volunteered at a local college that had the winningest college coach.
Interesting.
And he took it upon himself to learn the game to help better teach his kid. And then he would come home every day. Like, I think about this as an adult.
Wow.
And I really process it, and I understand, like, you're a man.
Yeah.
You're a man, you know, because he would come home after working for DCFS, hearing horrible stories about kids being treated like shit by their parents or all these horrible things, which was sidebar, which was good because I always knew, whoa, I have it really good. You know, my parents aren't beating me. They're not mistreating me and all that. But he would come home and catch, because I was a pitcher, he would come home and literally catch a bullpen every single day.
Wow.
And it was like, that's dedication to be, you know, to your kid. And that's really cool that you're being an adult now. Like, I come home, I wouldn't want to play catch.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you got to do it, you got to do it. Right. And that was the thing. So I had those kind of parents that were really encouraging to push me into things.
Right.
So it was really, really good. Got into sports. They liked it. Played in college. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And then after that, got into comedy.
Yeah. Was there between, I mean, there's high school and sports, and I mean, did you end up going to college, or did you?
I went to college for baseball.
Oh, right. You went to, wow.
I didn't know you. I'm so fucking dumb jock. I didn't know you had to apply for college. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
You just thought it was like an automatic thing, like with high school?
I thought they applied to you. I mean, that's what a scholarship is. They're like, hey, look, you want to come here? We got a great off-campus life. We got great, and they sell you on everything. And so I went. I played in college. Hurt my knee. That was it. And after that, didn't know what I was doing with my life. Started coaching baseball because I needed a job. I loved baseball. Wanted to be around it. Yeah. And really, that was, for me, that was like the growth point. Because when you start, you know it is when you mentor young comics, you start seeing all of your flaws.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they say that, you know, if you want to master something, teach it. You know, it's not, you know, it's just like that, the whole idea of having to like collect your thoughts in an organized manner to like communicate these ideas to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Forces you to like, you know, absolutely.
Yeah, you compartmentalize everything. You realize what you did wrong.
Right.
You realize what you're doing right.
Right.
And what I got to do was and all of this helped me in comedy going forward, because I would, here's a great story, an anecdote for people that really, it will encompass no matter what you're doing. Here's how hard you have to work. So we had two kids who were bench players. I was coaching the JV my first year. Two kids who were bench players, and we're doing batting practice, and they're hitting a ball every 1.5 to 2 seconds off the tee. That's a pretty good rate. Every other kid is hitting a ball probably every 3 to 4 seconds. I stopped practice and I let everybody watch them take 5 rounds. Literally made everyone stop, let them take 5 rounds. And I sat there with the pitcher clicker and I counted up how many swings they got. And then I did the math for them and I said, look, they got 250 more swings today. We are practicing 6 days a week. When you start to add up all those numbers in 6, like by the end of the season, they've had 5,000 more swings, 5,000 more reps, 5,000 more. And that, it's like comedy. Are you going to a mic? Or are you going to 3 mics?
Right.
Are you getting more reps? Are you taking it seriously? And every swing they had was game time.
Right.
And when you see that, for me, going into comedy was an easier transition, because when I got to mics, I realized, okay, once I had my tight 5, run it. And run it like you're at the Apollo. Right. Run it like Lorne Michaels is in the crowd. Because one day they might be. And when they're there, you don't have to worry. You just press play.
You're good. Yeah. Just turn it on. That's great. What was like growing up, were you like a comedy nerd, or like what was the?
Loved it. It was my, all right. So two passions I really had was baseball, and I loved stand-up. I didn't know I wanted to do it, but my first guy I watched was Tim Allen in the 80s.
Dude, Oh my God. His whatever it is, it's like 91, 92 set. It was the set he got right before he started with
Tool
Home
Time.
Improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. That set is a fucking airtight 30
Yes.
minutes. Like that, like not many people have seen. And like you watch that set and you're like, oh, he was like so fully actualized as a comedian.
Yeah.
Like it was like, there's not a bit of fat on that.
Nothing.
And it's great.
Yeah.
And it's a wildly underrated special. I feel like, yeah.
The first joke I ever understood from a comic was his, you know, like guys don't talk, we just grunt.
Yeah, right,
and
right.
I'm sitting there like whatever age I was, 8, 9, 10, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I laughed, and all of a sudden I had this involuntary reaction and this like, oh my God, like this mind blowing thing, like, oh my God, we all do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And that right there hooked me. Like to see the forest through the trees and to be able to go, that's an oak.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a special talent to be able to go, everybody sees everything, but comics pick out the little nuance that people just glance over.
Right.
And I think that's so cool. So I got into it early, then Def Comedy Jam came out. Loved it.
Yeah.
Like I watched every episode. Like I remember Chris Tucker before Rush Hour.
Oh,
And you know, if you study comics and you were watching them as they came up, when they were in the movies, you're like, oh, I know this guy.
Yeah.
I know who this guy. This guy's hilarious.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and other people are like, who is that? Like,
Yeah,
Chris
it's
Tucker.
like, this guy came out of nowhere. It's like, I don't know. He's been working pretty hard the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. It's like, when you see like new faces at JFL, you're like, I guess been new faces. Like he's been doing comedy for 11 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just very depressing.
Overnight success, right?
Yeah, right.
That's what it is.
Overnight, yeah, it's the word. So, what for you was the moment where you're like, okay, I'm a fan of this thing, but I want to be that. You know, was like, did you have like a moment, like a tipping point for yourself?
And it's the lamest moment ever.
I love it.
Oh yeah, always. So I go to get my tires changed or my oil changed at a Firestone. I got to sit while I'm waiting, and they've got fucking Oprah on, which is hilarious because I've made my whole life like making fun of Oprah.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
because in Chicago, like Harpo, we're always shitting on her.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there, and they have Tyler Perry, another person I'm not like the biggest fan of. Right.
Sure.
I'm like, whatever. And he's talking about how he got to where he was, and I'm just sitting there listening. He's talking about where he got to where he was by watching Oprah, and she told him to write down your 10 or 5 best thoughts you have at the end of the day. And then at some point you just learn what to do with it. And he was telling her that he had done that, and that got to him to where he wanted to be. And I'd always had people like, dude, I would have food service jobs, and I would have people like, you need a reality show. You're just a character. You're just a weird, you don't give a shit.
Yeah, what are you? Why are you doing
Yeah,
this?
like why are you delivering pizzas?
Right.
You're like, you're funny, you know? And when people in my day-to-day life were like, you're funny, then I saw this. That night I went home, and it's so weird to like credit me getting into comedy through Oprah, which is sounds so weird.
Everybody's got their own journey.
Everybody's got hey, you got to take your travels, you know? And so I went home that night and I wrote 10 thoughts. I still use one of those thoughts on stage.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so wild because I had the thought, and then I sat for 5 years before I ever touched a mic because I was terrified.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know how people get up there with no bits. I'm like, you have bigger balls than anyone I know.
Yeah.
And so I wrote for 5 years, and then I was finally at this weird point where I was like, you have notebooks of jokes, either use them or stop this.
Yeah, right.
Because you're torturing yourself.
Right.
Because at that point, I'm watching every special. I was an athlete, so I know how to like look at film and start to die. Why is he doing this with his hand?
Yeah.
What's he doing with? Why is he moving this way?
Right.
What's with the shoulder movement? Oh, the inflection, the pause. I studied all of that shit.
Sure.
All of it, just like you're watching film. And then I finally was like, do it or kill yourself because you wasted 5 years. Dude, I would go into my garage in Fort Lauderdale and write, because we were living in Florida at the time. I would go into my garage and write for like 3 hours.
Wow.
And just be like, oh, I loved writing.
Yeah.
And that's I think for most comics that are on stage, it's a writing thing.
Yeah, I think at least initially, like before you, because you know it's equal parts writing, equal parts performance.
Yeah.
And before you know anything about the performance part of it, like you are writing. Like we all come from a point where we're all writers.
Yeah.
And that was what it was for me. I was like, oh, I used to like writing stories, and I used my favorite part of the stories we're writing the funny parts, and like I wish there was a way to just say funny parts, and I was like, fuck, I want to be a stand-up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, like I absolutely like relate with that, you know. And I mean, do you feel like it? So it sounds like for you though, there was a point where you were grossly overanalyzing the thing. That's
my style.
Yeah.
It helps with writing jokes because I overanalyze fucking everything.
Right.
Like when my girl goes, "Hey, I'm good," I'm like, "Are you good?" Yeah, I'm like real insecure. I'm a comic.
But are you good?
Good.
You're like,
good. Yeah. Is this a fine good or is this a good but good? You know? And but yeah, you definitely like I'm very insecure. I think all comics are. Because when you get up there, it's but it's the weirdest things. You're insecure, but when you get up there, it's like that shit fades away.
Yeah.
And you have to, because you can't. One of the best things I ever heard in comedy was I was at Second City and I was training under Rob Belushi, who's the nephew of, and son of Jim. And
how cool.
He said one of the coolest things I'd ever heard that I still take to me with this day, and it is true confidence comes from knowing you did the work. And so when people tell me you have great confidence, great stage presence, I'm like, cool, because to me it just says you did the work.
Right.
That's what, because you can't fake confidence. It's a real thing. It's a real emotion. It's like you can't fake laughter. Funny is funny.
And like when you see people trying to fake confidence, you like oh yeah, I see right through you. Yeah. So you mentioned Second City. So you did some improv. Is that?
Yeah. Okay. So I started stand up in Chicago, and it was going really well, really quickly. I was really shocked, and it was cool. Like my first night on stage is very like, it's a weird story. So I went up, did a Macho Man joke. I'll do it tonight so you hear it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I did a Macho Man crank phone call joke. Yeah, right. So I get up there, I tell the one joke. It's about it's a bit, but it's about like 2.5 minutes. Got the laughs, got off stage.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was just like, got the laughs, one joke.
Yeah,
exactly. And then the booker, who I'm good friends with now, and I didn't know him at the time, he got up and he was like, "Was that really your first time on stage?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Holy shit."
Yeah.
And I went, when he said that, I was like, okay, I don't think that happens every time.
Right.
But you also but then my insecurity's like, it probably does.
Yeah.
It probably he's probably being nice.
He's just being nice.
He's being a
100%.
sweetheart, you know?
Yeah. And that's a very like that initial, it's such a scary time where you're like, okay, I got the first one, but then you haven't even thought about the second one yet. Like you're like, all you want to do is like have a good first time, and then you realize, oh no, there's a second one and a third one and a fourth one and a fifth one, and it like just on into infinity. And and you haven't even thought about that part yet. So I absolutely see where you're coming from there, where you're just like, oh no, the insecurity doesn't go away.
Oh, dude, to this day, and again, not flexing, I did like 250 shows last year across here in Illinois. And to this day, last night, guy gets the light. That's when I let all the nerves kick in. Because I want to have that.
I like that. I like that little electric
rush
feeling though. Like that little like you're just kind of like it's in your gut and it's in your like you're just fucking ready to, like you're just right before you get on stage, that like really electric feeling it's kind of hard to describe to people. Like
you can't.
Right, because it's like a little nervous, a little excited, and you're just like, oh.
The best way I heard it put was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Okay.
Space Odyssey.
Okay.
Or Oddity by David Bowie. It's that countdown. I remember going up I to this day remember my last 10 steps before my life changed.
Oh wow.
And I remember walking up going in my head like, what the fuck are you doing? Like my insecure self is screaming at me, do not do this, turn around, you can leave. They don't even know you. You're fine. And then but when you get on stage and you grab the mic and then the first time they laugh, it's over. It was over.
Yeah. Oh, you're hooked. Yeah,
you're
100%. Yeah. I remember the first set I ever did went really well, and the second one was the one that really hurt. Like it was the second one where I'm like, okay, like I got this, like cool, and and it's just one of those things where you very quickly become aware of the mathematics of comedy. You're like, oh, like the same equation doesn't always have the same outcome. Like it's so strange.
That's the weirdest thing, by the way, when you're telling a joke and your ear's in, and then you stop where the laughter should be, and nothing, and you're like, oh, this worked.
Well,
2 hours ago.
Like literally last night. This was It's so fun. So then you become friends with that booker, and he gets you into where does the improv come in?
Okay, so I did the sets, and I did a lot of like character work when I first started because I'm weird.
Sure.
So really weird dude. And when I was doing it, I had somebody come in. This girl Elaine come in, and she goes, "Did you do improv?" I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that
Yeah, I
is.
don't
Like,
even
I'm
know
not trying to be like an asshole, but
what is that?
no.
Yeah.
And she's like, you should go to Second City. And I was like, just the way she said it, you know, when people, it's comics, you learn to hear the truth when somebody means it. And she's like, you really need to go to Second City. So I went to Second City, Chicago, and it was life-changing because we went in there, and it's different. The Second City in Hollywood, I went to both. I graduated from Hollywood, but the Second City in Chicago is it's the funniest accountant. It's like everyone in Second City, Chicago, it's like their friend or their mom or their boyfriend or their girlfriend paid for them to have one class because they're just that funny. It was we had a young lady named Ushashi from India. She would do like real work. She was a tech person, but she came into improv at Second City. She's still doing improv. And it was one of those things where like our first day in, the guy walks in and he's like, there are two famous people in this room. And somebody was like, how do you know that? He was like, he started giving the list of the people. And you're like, Steve Carell, Steve Colbert. And he goes down the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. Like he goes down the list of who he's taught. He's like, we can see it when you come in. And you're like, oh. And they were so nurturing for our group. And it was hilarious because we thought they were lying to us just to get our money. And then we started talking to other groups, and we were the only group that they were like, this group's good. Every other group was like, oh, you guys are fine. You guys are fine.
You guys are going to have fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yes, and.
Get some giggles.
Yeah. So, but there I really got to learn how to write and like be comfortable having a joke that works. It was the biggest thing they taught me. You get a chuckle? Cool. Get a laugh. Oh, you got a laugh? Make them clap. Oh, they clapped? Can they stomp their feet? If they stomp their feet, get them up out of their chair, have them turn around and high five each other. And by the way, if you get somebody to get out of their chair as a comic, you want to quit right there. I've done it twice in my life in 5 fucking years. And both times I'm going to be like, there's the mic, I'm done. Shit's too easy. You know what I mean? I just want to have that one more. And then the next day you eat a dick. And you're like, oh, no, I'll go back to this.
Still.
Yeah, I still
garbage.
suck. Yeah.
How funny.
Yeah, but I did the improv and I did the characters, and I learned how to take a joke that works and not give a shit and tear it apart. Tell it forwards, tell it backwards. First thing I do when I tell a joke now on stage, I sit in the chair. I add I add minimal inflection. I add almost no act out because I need to know the writing stands on its own.
Sure. Yeah.
And then everything else I'll add up is layers.
Right.
But I'm not going to layer it unless I know that is going to work. If the writing is not there, everything else is shit.
It's so scary too. Like, I mean, because I've seen comedians. I think who is it? I think Chris Rock works his new material that way.
Yeah.
Where he's very dry and he's moving faster than you normally would, and I've seen other comics do that. I'm like, oh, like, because I'm somebody that's very much about like inflection and delivery, and so like when I see somebody that can like strip away a bit like that, I'm like, oh, you are brave. I like that.
It's terrifying, but the good thing is it's truthful.
Oh, 100%.
So you know when that shit's not gonna work.
I'm just terrified of the truth.
We all are.
The truth is hurtful.
It's very hurtful in this business. Oh, every day.
That's great, man. So you ended up. Why'd you make the move from Chicago to LA?
So my fiance got a job. We were in Fort Lauderdale. She got a job with Steelcase, major Fortune 500 company, big deal. So they wound up moving us back up to Chicago, and then we're there for I think 2 years. And then I started comedy, and everything was going great. And she got the call that they needed a position open up in Orange County. And so I was like, oh, I'm doing well here.
Right.
And then I came here, and man, when as a comic, like when you get anxiety, because I came here and then it was back to square one. Right. Nobody knows you. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And I'm watching everybody that I was a little bit ahead of in Chicago as far as booking dates and shit. They're all starting to pop there. Yeah. And I'm sitting over here.
Right. You're like, oh,
fuck did I do?
Yeah.
I was literally depressed my first year here because I'm watching comics, and it's not that they weren't funny. They're funny guys, and it's nothing to do with that. It's just knowing the crew you're running with,
right? And
going, okay, well, I would probably be here if I didn't shoot myself in the foot, which I mean, I haven't done yet. So. Right. But then when I got here, there was a lot of anxiety. I was doing improv. And then I was so unhappy with the actors because they're a very different breed than the improv people in Chicago. Like I said, Chicago is the funniest accountant.
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood is the person who's trying to get it on their resume and be an actor.
I see. Yeah.
So it was very like, I had people stealing lines from me in scenes because their lines weren't getting laughs. But these were the same people that would argue with me when I only have 2 real strengths in improv. 3. I can make a joke because I'm a stand-up. I do really good characters, and I can give you a name for some. I can name characters, and I don't know why, it's a gift. Like I can name Spencer, and you're like, I didn't even think of a Spencer. It's like like I'm good with that. Sure. Those are only 3 things. But if you're in my ballpark, listen to me. Like when you're an actor, I don't know shit about acting. Right. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, right.
But it's have the same humility with what you don't know. And there was a lot of the butting heads. Sure. So I went full bore back into stand up here and just stopped with the improv and was booked the next week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was a snowball effect. You know, it just started rolling downhill and been blessed, man. Yeah. People out here are so nice. The community's so nice. Chicago is so brutal. Oh, dude. Dude, they had a room where they had keys. There's a real room in Chicago, okay? So they have keys, and when you get up and you're not good, the audience will pull out their keys and start shaking them, and then somebody will shout, change it up. Dude, I've seen comics get on stage and not tell a joke for a minute, and the guy would light them, and that didn't feel like 4 minutes, and then the big-ass like bouncer host would go, sure as fuck did back here. 1 minute. And the comic would just, it's like, no, you have to, you had to tell a joke within your first 45 seconds.
Dude, that's so simple. And so many comics overlook that. Like, I'm like, no, just have an opener. Like, have an opening joke. Like something 30 to 45 seconds. You should be getting your first laugh. You know? Yeah. That's step number 1. It's shocking how many people don't know that.
The rule in Chicago, if you're going to book at Riddles, which was the comedy club I started at, you needed a joke every 7 to 10 seconds. Yeah. And they literally sat there and counted. And if you didn't, they were like, no. Because we're going to bring any number of 150 people in here who are going to do this, what we need them to do. Right. And they don't. One of the best things I learned, first day off, I had the good set, and the pros grabbed me. And they pulled me right away from the open micers, which was huge because I didn't get any of those bad habits of, hey, we're clicky, we're going to run shit. And you're like, you've been doing comedy for 2 months. Let's hold on. You know, pump the brakes.
Let's just write some jokes.
Yeah, let's get funny. Let's get a tight 5, you know. But so the big comics brought me over and they were like, okay. And I thought, yes, like I'm in the club. And the first guy grabs me and was like, first off, nobody gives a fuck about you. Tell jokes. And I was like, oh, you know, and security's all coming back in and it's avalanche and I'm like, oh my God, I suck. And they're telling, but they were really good about like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And we will not accept it if you do. And I was like, oh, okay. So what, like here out in California, they're much more PC. They're much more like, oh, hey, good for you. You're trying. Yeah. And in Chicago, they're like, man, we got union workers coming in to watch the show. They don't care about your fucking trying. Yeah, right. They want jokes because they just work 60, 80 hours a week in some hard, grueling job. They don't.
They want to blow some steam,
they didn't come from surfing.
Your job is to be funny man.
Yeah. Make me laugh. That's the tone.
100%. That's amazing. Well, you're Adam Martinez.
Yes.
And this is a podcast called Sad Dad.
Yes.
Where we talk about dad.
Absolutely.
And not only do you have a dad, but you are a dad.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
I have a lot of questions about that, but I think we'll start off. I think we'll start with your dad.
Okay.
And so where did your dad grow up? Was he a Chicago kid?
No, he grew up in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, okay.
He's in a sense a military brat, but his dad didn't move anywhere. My granddad's still in San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is crazy because he's like 93 and still you can call him and he's fully functional mentally.
Oh, wow.
It's awesome.
Good for
awesome.
him.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so blessed for that. Like how many people don't have a grandparent by like 20 and I'm 38 with
so your grandfather was in the military.
Yeah, my grandfather was in the military. Nice. My dad went into broadcasting. So he worked in probably where I get like the confidence to go on stage was I'd watch my dad. He worked for NBC in Chicago. So he was like a field anchor and he was just really diligent about his job. He really made sure he did it right. I'd watch him and I saw how much goes behind the scenes. Yeah. And then when he had either to move out to California or just get a new job because, you know, anchors, they move them. They don't give a shit. Right. But my mom was a teacher in the Chicago public school. And so she was union. And so she was like halfway to her pension, you know? So he was like, no, we'll stay. And he started working for the government, the state of Illinois. And he worked for DCFS, which was huge because, like I said, he would come home and you would just see the wear because there's a guy who has to read the worst stories and get and then have to go to the media because now his job is to reach out to the media for DCFS. And if you know, like, there's never a good story about a kid. It's never like, hey. It's not fun.
Rough. What kind of kid was he growing up? I mean, you said a military brat? I mean, what's he kind of? Was he like a real precocious kid, or what's he?
No, he was very confident. My dad's very confident, so probably where I get the confidence from and the ability to have the bravado to say something with confidence, because my dad would. So I watched him. He played sports, so he's big into sports.
Did he have a big family, or is he?
No, same brother, sister. It was him and his sister, and then the two parents. So basic standard American family with a dog, 2.5 kids and a dog.
Right.
But yeah, he had his sister. She's a lawyer now. But yeah, he grew up in Texas. He was like very adult when he was a kid. Like he was working for it's so weird because we're a different generation, but he was like 18 working for a radio station.
Wow.
And like we don't do that now. Like 18, they'd be like, get out of here, man. Come back in 4 years.
Yeah, because I got this 35-year-old intern over here.
It's really gonna work because he's desperate.
He's way smarter than you.
Yeah, way smarter.
And I don't have to pay him anything.
No, he's just happy to be here. So he was very much like that. So he was very big into he'd do sports. He was very big into being active, and he didn't sit around the house a lot. He played guitar, still does. Dude, he got to play with Willie Nelson on stage. He was like just a backup guitarist.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Willie Nelson was in town, and they're like, hey, Andy, you want to come through? And he was like, sure. And
your dad's like a weird folk hero.
Yeah, for me, he is, dude. He's awesome. He's he got to play, like, getting to see my dad play with Willie Nelson. Like, I'll never unsee that.
Oh, wow.
It was so cool. And it's weird because my dad does not smoke pot at all. It's hilarious. He's so against weed. But,
Well, did he ever talk about where the idea of broadcasting came in? Like, I mean, was he like just a nerdy? I picture him being like a weird, like nerdy, like working on the school paper kind of kid. But
my dad
doesn't seem right either.
Let me put it this way: when Anchorman came out, we called my dad Ron Burgundy for 5 years. He has great hair. He has a power mustache.
Yes.
Okay.
I love your dad already.
Yes. He's a power mustache, and he's a good looking dude. And so he was. He's got an ego, so I definitely think it was driven by like, oh, I want to be famous, or I want to be somebody in the community.
Right.
And so, and he was like the first Hispanic on air in Denver.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he's like some really cool things.
Yeah.
But he's still to this day. He's like you know that line, "Come see how good I look." Like. When we heard that, we looked at my dad, and he's like, I don't like this movie.
Hilarious. That's so funny. Now, because he was bouncing around between California and Colorado and Chicago and Texas. Like, were you around for that, or was this all
No, that was all before I was born, and then he settled down. They got married in 76, and I think by 78, he was done. I was born in 81.
Oh, gotcha.
So I knew my dad only as like, I could see his tapes from his NBC thing, but I only knew him as like dad and working at the house.
Sure. Yeah,
and he wasn't like famous or anything. He was just a field reporter. And like once in a blue, he'd get recognized, and then he'd be so happy, and I was like, cool.
Yeah.
But
good you did. Yeah. Where does your mom come into the picture for your dad? You know what I mean? How do they end up meeting?
He was doing a story on schools, and he interviewed her, and he liked her at first, and she thought he was obnoxious, which she wasn't wrong. I love him, but she thought he was a bit obnoxious, but she liked him.
Yeah.
And then they just started dating, and it was like they're still together.
Yeah.
It's weird. They're still happy. And I grew up in that environment. So I don't I'm not the comic who had like a rich, sneaky uncle.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like I
right.
didn't have any of that. So it's very weird.
Yeah.
But they're super sweet, man. And they met. She's still a teacher. She stayed in CPS. He sacrificed his career for her.
Oh.
And you see a lot of that. And so, he didn't like bring it up all the time. He was like, we're going to win. He wasn't that guy.
Right.
He just made his decision. He's very 1940s baby. Made his decision. That's it.
This is it.
It's over.
We're committed to it.
Yeah.
That's great. How old did they have you? Were they a little older when they had you? Like, I'm trying to do the math on it, but I mean, is there like a big age difference between like your siblings and yourself, or you guys all pretty close?
Okay, my half siblings about 5-6 years.
Okay.
And they're 70s babies. I'm an 80 baby. My sister, we're Latin twins.
Oh.
We're like 18 months apart. So yeah, definitely exactly 18 months. Yeah, go dad. He was not waiting.
Yeah.
But no, we're close in proximity. My sister and I, and so yeah, we had a good relationship. Yeah. She was an athlete too. She was very smart. She graduated fucking college 3.5 years, double major minor.
Oh wow.
And I was a college dropout. And so my parents like, you know what I mean? Yeah. She got her master's. She's very smart, but she's really sweet. She's good person. She's got her family all figured out. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And but they had her first, and then they had me in 81. So they had her in 80, me in 81, and that was it.
Yeah.
And great parents, man.
That's awesome. And so, what was like for you? I mean, what was your relationship like with your dad? I mean, was he real? I mean, he was real hands on.
Yeah.
You were saying earlier where he would come home and play catch with you, and
That's the good part. The bad part is, all right, let me put it this way. I threw 3 no-hitters in high school in a row.
Oh, wow.
The second one, he goes, you walked 8. You don't think one of those motherfuckers would have run into the ball by accident? Like, that was also my dad. So there, like, as I got older, there was definitely when I hit like that 16, 17, there was that like pushback.
Yeah.
But it was never about me not playing baseball because I loved it, which was great. But it was just about his hands-on. Because, I was getting older. I was trying to be my own player and all that stuff. Right. And he's still the dad. Right. And he coached at a college where they won a World Series in '93. So like he has a World Series ring, and he's like, "Yo, dipshit, I know what I'm talking." It's like when you talk to a 6-year comic, and this is your first night, right? Take the note. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I was also 16, and so I would butt heads, but not too hard. Sure. Like I would push back, but at the end of the day, I knew I wanted to play baseball. Right. So I would do what I had to do.
Trying to figure shit out.
Yeah, just being 16.
Yeah. I mean, we're all just trying to find our way, man. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I was going to ask, because I'm really curious about that, because that seems like such a big transition from like the broadcasting to the DCFS stuff. Mm-hmm. Did he ever talk about that? Like what, like led him into that career?
He just knew, he knew the governor. At the time, because he'd done stories, dude,
of course he did.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
he got off stage. He was on stage with Willie Nelson and the governor. Governor's on drums.
He's keeping the tempo. But he had known the governor because he met him a few times, and politics. So you just reach out and hey, I need a job. They put him in a spot where he got to deal with the media, something he knew, and that's really what he did. He did the PR for all of them, and he would set out the stories. He'd have to write the stories and write the apologies and all that. And the worst part was like he had nothing to do with what happened to the kid, but the backlash would be he would have to deal with the hey, you guys did this, and he's like, okay, He's like, that's 6 steps away from me, but I'll have to take the hit. And so he went, and that was pretty natural transition because he was still working adjacent, and then he got really big into politics. He's a really big political guy.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's super conservative.
Is he?
Yeah, he's super Fox News. And it's hilarious because every time I go home, I'm like, can we just turn off the TV? You know what I mean? Because I'm a comic, you know what I mean? So I'm like, this is a little weird because we're comics because we can't let it go. You know what I mean? Like we kind of have to sit there and go,
we got something to say.
Yeah.
We may not always say it, but there's something.
Yeah. There's something there. Yeah. So, but he's super conservative. He worked for a lot of Republicans, and then the first job I had, like working for a politician, was for a Republican, and I learned right away, like, can't trust him because I'd done a lot of like road work, and he goes, "Hey, if you have any ideas, pitch it my way." And then the night he got elected, I'm like, "Hey, and I couldn't even get the rest of the sentence out before he walked away. Yeah. And I was like, politics.
Politicians, I get it now.
Yeah. Then I went over to the Democrats, and I was working security for a room, and this Democrat walked off after talking to a all black room, and came right off and goes, "I think we got the N-word vote." And I was like, "Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh no." It was definitely, what are you doing? Yeah.
Everyone is terrible.
Yeah. It was just one of those things. So after that, I disassociated from politics. I don't.
Sure.
I watch it because it clearly affects us, but he was a very, like I said, he would be like, can you read about the Clintons so we can talk about stuff? Because he didn't want to talk about how was your day? Right. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You went to English class? Cool.
Yeah.
You know,
like all the other children your age. Yeah. Way to go, buddy. Yeah.
Paying for Catholic school for that? Great. You know. So he's.
One thing I did want to ask you about too. I mean, we mentioned it right at the top, but you were a young dad.
Oh yeah, 19.
19 when your kid was born. Well, tell me about that.
Okay, so I was dating a girl. We broke up. She got pregnant. At first, I don't think, because I was 19, I think I was pretty much like, it's not mine. Like, you tried to trap me because we broke up, and that was the comment. But then I looked at the kid. I'm like, fuck, that's mine. You know what I mean?
This kid's definitely me.
Yeah, he's definitely me. And then, I think the first 3 years I was just such a bad dad because we would fight, and I would link it to him because I was, 19 and fucking stupid.
Yeah, right.
And I would just look and be like, oh, she's, I would go to see him, and she would disappear with him. and then I'd be stuck at her house, like ringing the doorbell. And I started blaming him for that. And then, like, I think 3 years old, like something happened to her where she wanted me to beat some ex-boyfriend up. And I'm like, no, but I'll come see my kid. Yeah. And from then on, he's fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
He is, for the stuff he's had to go through. His mom's had a lot of problems. She's had a lot of problems dating. She's dated some abusive guys. She's dated drug addicts. She had a guy overdose in her house that she was dating. Yeah. So he's seen some shit, but he's like really a good kid. He's got a girlfriend. He's in college. He's very, very stable. Yeah. He's very polite. And I love it. Well, a lot of the things I tried to do, because when you're not living, when you're not living with them every day, there's stuff that can, sneak in, and you got to watch that. Right. Hey, we're not racist. Hey, South side of Chicago is very segregated. So you got a bunch of cops' kids as his friends, and they're all, speaking this and speaking that. I'm like, don't forget you're a Martinez. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. It's one of those. And so I just told, and he got it. He's not had a racial problem. Dude, on social media, he's not a prick. Yeah. He's just a good kid, and I'm blessed. He's taller than me. That's weird.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. That's a weird, when your kid gets taller than you become a hard ass for no reason. I was like, what? What'd you say to me? I said, I'll take fries with that, Dad. You goddamn right. Because you just want to flex on him for no. You're still skinny. I can take you now. Yeah. But I got like 10 years until you whoop my ass.
Yeah,
and then what am I going to do then? Right. Hey, son, don't do that. No, shut up, Dad. Yeah. All right.
Is it wild to think that like your kid is the same age you were when you had him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he has a girlfriend. Right. She's really sweet, and I'm like, don't make me a grandpa before I'm 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Please. It's that very like. And the thing is, because he grew up with parents separated. Yeah, he has such a good understanding of how that's going to impact his kid. Right. So he's very committed to where he doesn't run around. I love it, dude. Yeah. I love it because, so here's a great story. First time he had sex, I get a text message from his baby mama. So your kid's fucking some whore out in New Lenox, and I'm like, great way to find out your kid's having sex. By the way, great text to read midday.
Yeah, you handled this in a very tactful manner. Yeah, congratulations.
Love it. And so he calls me. Because I say, call me now. He knows what it's about. Yeah. And he calls me. He's kind of like chesty. Hey, Dad. Yeah, what's up? And I fucking unload because it's my baby. Yeah, right. It's your baby. I don't want to think about you having sex. And now I'm going to tell you the downfalls that come with sex. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, look, you little motherfucker. Every time you whip out your dick, you risk getting extorted. You need to be more careful with that thing. Well, because I didn't want him. Here's why. He went out with the girl, hooked up with her. She was like, they're both like 16 at the time or whatever they were. He hooks up with her, and then he dumps her because she wants his passcode. And I'm like, okay, to his phone.
His phone.
Yeah. And I'm like, kind of a bad reason to dump somebody. Also, you had sex with her, and now you've pissed her off. Right. And you don't know how somebody's going to react. Right. And I told him, once the courts grab you, Dad can't help. And so just trying to prepare him for that and being like, don't go around sticking your dick in everything. Right. Don't go around being a dirtbag. Don't treat him with disrespect. I will beat the shit out of you.
Right. Wear a condom.
Yeah, wear a condom. Oh my God. We're not that Catholic. Wear a condom, Like, this is so bad. It's
yeah. How wild, man.
Yeah. But amazing. He played baseball, but he didn't love it. He loves baseball, but he doesn't love the work at it. Yeah. So it was really cool. We have a really cool relationship, I think, because I didn't push it. I was like, I took him outside. I work with him. I'd work him out. And then one day he just quit middle workout. He's like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And he was like, I'm like, I could push you, but you're going to get good grades. Like, that's not negotiable. Right. That has nothing to do with this. Right. You played enough sport to get the team concept. You're 15 now, And then in high school, he wound up playing fucking frisbee golf. Yeah. He was like at all. I didn't know they had all district teams for frisbee golf. I'm like, by the way, when your kid is playing sports, I don't give a shit if it's frisbee golf. I went out and watched him, and I'm watching him play, and all of a sudden I became a sports dad. Oh yeah. I was looking at him because he's 6'2". I'm like, you need to moss him. You need to go up and get that frisbee, son. And I'm thinking as I get home, I'm like, this is definitely way too intense for Frolf, And I'm sitting there like, but like the dad in me is like, because he scored like the first 3 or 4.
You're like, fuck yeah.
That came out of me. Like that, the narcissism of being a parent when your kid's good at something. Because watching him play baseball, I was like, it's my boy. And I'm don't step out. Don't step out. and all that. But
suddenly he's destroying on the frisbee golf course.
When he's destroying the frisbee golf, I'm like, that's my man, beast mode. Like I was going nuts. I was so excited, and when he got done, I was just like chest bump. I was such a tool.
I think it's good, man.
Yeah, you should be though. You can be a tool with your kids. You're supposed to be.
Why not?
Yeah, because he's gonna remember that. When he told me about it, he was embarrassed to tell me he's playing. His dad was a college athlete, and he's like, I'm playing frisbee golf.
Right.
And he thought I was gonna be like dork, nerd. No, I was like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And he was like, really? I'm like, because the way he prefaced it was hilarious. He prefaced it like he was about to come out of the closet. Dad, we need to talk. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. About to get this talk.
Yeah.
You're artistic.
Right.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah. Right. He's like, I tried some new things. I'm experimenting. I'm like, oh, jeez. He's like, playing frisbee golf. I'm like, dope. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, go have acting. Because when they're your kids, you don't give a shit if they're happy.
As long as they're happy.
And they're doing something that's not, it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, it's not destructive.
Yeah.
They're feeling accomplished and they're feeling good about fucking frisbee golf, bro.
Go get it, man.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And then when he saw me come out, I know as like because he lives in Chicago, I know when he went back there for his prom and all that stuff, made sure I was there for all the the graduation, all the good stuff. And cherry picked for sure as a dad. As I'm in California, I'm like just cherry picking the great dates.
Yeah.
But it's great when I get a phone call saying you need to talk to your fucking kid. I'm like, now he's my kid. It's only your kid when they fuck up. It's hilarious.
Right.
But dude, he's like, I watched him in prom. By the way, the prom was scary. There were women with it's Catholic school, and there were girls with full back tattoos. And I'm like, this was not where I was when I was in high school. God. I was shocked. And they had their dresses, and they're in our school, they would have been cover that up.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was different. You could see the difference in the kids.
Yeah.
And the girls are way better looking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's yoga.
It's got to be. It's something. I don't know. Yeah.
Green tea.
What is probably the green tea?
It's just the green tea.
Oh, the green tea the kids are drinking these days.
Yeah.
Obviously. What was the conversation when you found out you were going to be a dad? What was the conversation with your dad?
Sat him down, told him, hey, look, this is the situation. And he was like, all right, we'll go to a lawyer tomorrow. He was disappointed that I was, because he had a divorce. So he knew the struggles of being a single parent.
Right.
So he was very big into, we'll talk to the lawyer, set everything up, which was huge. Keep your receipts. I went and talked to the lawyer, and I started learning how to prevent myself from getting nailed, because in the court system you can get destroyed if you have a penis.
Oh yeah,
I've been in the child support hearings and stuff, and I'm you see I'm in a full suit, and you see guys in Charlie Brown t-shirts, and you're like, what are you doing? No. This guy's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But I went in there with a lawyer, and it was good because they kept my receipts, because she tried to hit me for 14 years back child support, and it was awesome because we're in the room before you go into the main room.
Oh, right,
there's that. There's a first room. If people have never done this, you go into a first room where they hear everything out. They kind of set everything up for the judge, and then they send it to the judge, so it's way quicker. So we're there, and she's like, dude, she's talking shit. He's never paid anything. I'm a deadbeat, of course, in her eyes. Right. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm getting pissed, and my lawyer put her hand on me, and that's when I calmed down, because she was like, I got this. And I was like, all right. And then as soon as she got done, the lawyer pulls out a stack of receipts, bro, I'm talking 3 Bibles high. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the Old Testament. So it was lengthy.
Yeah.
And dude, she treated her so bad. She's like, $250 for shoes. You're Kelly? Yeah, that's you? Okay, you signed for that. Okay. She went through the whole stack. Bro, it was so bad. The 2 guys who were about to get nailed for child support were basically golf clapping in the back. I love seeing this. I love seeing somebody get try to fuck the system, and then and it was that thing of oh, cool. I did the right thing of and being there for my kid too, and not being that in the court system where they're you're a piece of shit. And you're like, no, I'm not. He's 18. He doesn't have to talk to me. We still talk. We talk 3 times a week.
Has he been out to California to visit you?
No, because he graduated, was working, and went right into college. So he's gone. He's right into college.
What's he majoring in? Do you know?
Right now he's doing his gen ed. So he's at JUCO. Yeah, because it's expensive.
Sure.
So he's doing it smart. Doing the JUCO, but he wants to do marine biology.
Oh,
dude,
cool.
He builds marinas. He built the marina for his high school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a smart, good kid.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and they let him in and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then Santa Cruz has a killer marine biology.
Oh, that's awesome.
at Santa Cruz State, man, you might end up there. But more importantly for you, they also have a really fun comedy scene. So you
awesome.
can go visit Junior and then
do some spots.
Yeah, you just let me know. I know a ton of people in Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. Yeah. But he loves that I do comedy, by the way.
Does he really?
He's funny.
Cool.
He's funny as shit. He's one of the, all right, so one time we missed, we're going to the Sox game. It's me, him, and my best friend. We're going to the Sox game, and my friend goes, oh, shit, I missed the turn. And he goes, that was a mistake like me, right, Dad? Like, he's got that kind of like, doesn't give a shit. He's got no filter. This is my guy. I told him when he was, when he graduated, I was like, he's so funny. I told him, like, not being a dick, he's funnier than some comics. For sure.
I wouldn't doubt that for a second.
And he's got, so I told him, I was like, man, if you ever want to do this, like, I will literally take you in the room with me. Come on down. And he was like, I just don't want. I think it's probably the stage and a couple other things that are and he's 18.
And as much as we don't want to admit it, it probably would be us as dads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go in there and do comedy. It's like dad's thing. And you're like, no, I'd love it if you. No, it's kind of like the baseball thing.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, all right, I'll back up.
Yeah, exactly. I gave it to him once. He was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, all right, but in Chicago, I can get you in the clubs. You'll be all right. You know?
Yeah, funny.
But yeah, he's really funny.
Well, dude, that's great. Well, this is part of the show. We kind of like bring it in for a landing. I'd like to ask for like a dad anecdote.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about this outside.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have like a favorite story about your dad or even you as a dad? And if you need a second to think about it through the miracle of editing,
perfect.
I can make it.
I love it. I would say for my dad, my favorite story with my dad, the favorite thing that makes my dad makes him, it kind of encompasses him, is my dad wouldn't just help out his kid. So when we played Little League, he literally raised a group in Bolingbrook to be really good players. And watching, like, the coolest thing to watch my dad, like, understand, like, oh, it's training. It's not just natural gifts. Yeah. Well, it was a really cool anecdote because he was sitting there and he was drafting the Little League team. And he leans over to me. He's like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get kids who want to play baseball and I'm going to make them good. Winning's a byproduct of that. Yeah. And what I loved about him was every time we were in practice, he coached me to high school. Because he wasn't going to let anyone else, like, hey, here's a swing off your front foot and all this dumb shit. Right. He was not letting them touch me. And then, he went in and he was so good with each and every other kid, like they were his kid too, that to this day, they still ask about him. Aww. To this day, they're like, how's your dad doing? Yeah. And to see that kind of an impact that you make on kids who, Little League, your parents may force you to go in. Right. And you suck at baseball, you're going to hate it. If you suck at anything, you're going to hate it. Right. And then he'd make them good, and all of a sudden they get that little confidence, a little bit of, and he'd help them grow as people. None of them went on to be great baseball players, but they're all really good people.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
And that was something I took as a coach.
Yeah.
It's not, you're building a human. You're not building a baseball player.
Yeah.
You're trying to make them understand like work ethic and all that. So watching my dad do that for other kids was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, because how many dads do not give two shits about any of it in this world? And to realize like the blessing I have to have a dad who's not only going to volunteer, going to take, and they put him on, he was so good, they put him on salary the next year, but he spent a whole year not getting paid, being a comic, being an open micer,
and to himself,
and to watch him sacrifice all of his time to make his kids happy is one of those things that you just really, when my kid, he needs something, he wants something, it's like, let's do it. How can we get it done? I don't care if I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
And that's one of those things.
I love that, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, Adam, you've been a great guest today.
Oh, thank you, man.
If you want more Adam Martinez in their life, where do they go? Where do they find you? What do they do?
You can find me on Adam Martinez, Adam Martinez Comedy on Instagram. That's where you can get all my show dates. I've got a podcast dropping, Game Time Decisions. I think that's the name we settled on. Game Time Decisions. But I will have it on my Instagram post. It's the top 100 baseball players, and I'm just giving a 30-minute podcast about each and every player that I can. And I break down. What I try to do is I try to break down the numbers you don't understand because you're not a baseball guy and who gives a shit. You shouldn't have to understand them. Sure. But when I break them down, like I did, the first episode was Babe Ruth.
Oh yeah.
It's because I was like, of all the people that are number one, he's number one.
Right. He's number one in this one.
Yeah. In this sport, he's number one. And I looked at his WAR which is win above replacement.
Oh.
And I had to break that down to people. And I started reading off modern day players that are all world. And his win above replacement is like double theirs.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, that's a weird number. And really trying to bring some comedy to it, but also bringing just the fan.
Right,
just the genuine, I love baseball.
Yeah, and here's why.
And here's why.
And here's, I'm going to explain it to you, and hopefully you feel differently about it.
Yeah. Hopefully if you think baseball's boring, I try to give you a little nudge towards, it's not boring, but you hear a little bit more nuance to it. So if you watch it, and if you're a baseball fan, it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I love that.
For sure.
Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. It was awesome.
I'll link all that in the show notes for you.
For sure.
And we're back. Adam Martinez. Check him out on social media. He took, just FYI, he's not on Facebook right now. He gave up Facebook for Lent, but I think he's still pretty active on Instagram. So check that out. I'll tag him in the post for that. And yeah, guys, come on to a show if you're in the greater Fresno Clovis area. Our Wednesday shows at Full Circle Olympic and Tower District are real bangers. Our Monday, Tuesday shows are super fun too. And of course, we have our Friday, Saturday shows. Those 4 shows happen at the Chico's in Old Town Clovis. Those are fun too. But my absolute favorite night of the week is Full Circle Olympic. Oh man, that show, we got some more chairs. I hit up the owners at Full Circle. I'm like, we need some more chairs in this place. It's like a real growing problem, a growing pain, I guess is the better term for it. And it's neat, like when a show is like standing room only, like it's cool to say, and it's like cool in like principle, but I think it makes for like a less engaged audience. And we were having that problem at Full Circle. It's standing room only every single week. And I hit them up. I'm like, can we please get some more chairs? And they got us some more chairs. And I'm so stoked. We have 20 more chairs at Full Circle Olympic for our Wednesday night shows. So I'm so excited to go there tonight and set up all those fucking chairs. It's going to be way more work, but you know what? That's okay. That's what we do. So cool, guys. I will catch you next week. I got a great episode for you next week with Andrew Pupa. Real interesting guy. Has an interesting dad. Andrew himself is a fascinating human being in his own right. He's like an ultra marathon runner, which is pretty cool, and so we get into some of that. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week, and I will catch you next time. Adios.